Hey guys, what's up? G4TV School here. Here I have a deck profile with EBO9 that was just released. I decided to build Kageros. Yeah, very uncreative. Actually, I bought my friend's Kagero deck. It had 4 Steel Dragon PGs and 1 Dauntless Drive for about 40 bucks with Gauntlet Buster. I was like, okay, that's fine. Hell, Dauntless was about $40 back then anyway. It's still $40 now. It's a really good card. Anyway, I decided to build the deck just because it's a really fun deck. I mean, this deck is cruel as hell at times. And it's also very unfair against your opponent, which if they're at 5 damage and you crit them, it's like, well, I can't heal on my way out of this one, so they have to guard early, and that basically can land you some good pluses from this deck, because if you can get the grade 4 off early, it makes their grade 0s, they have to guard the rear guard grades with grade 0s and perfect guard early. So anyway, let's start off with basically the starter, Loaded Soldier Conroe, since the TCG right now, since Bushiroad decided to make him not a, ban him as a starter for the TCG, we could still use him technically, so he's still one of the best starters in the game. His abilities, if you don't know, he has the basic Forerunner ability, as well as a Counterblast 1, retire it, and you search your deck for 1 grade 1 or less Kagero unit. Really easy to use. Until then, you can either use him, Lizard Soldier Conroe, or you can use Red Pulse Draco Kid, which is basically the grade 3 searcher. Still pretty good. They're both really good in their strengths and weaknesses, but I prefer Conroe over that. Now we have the grade 4. This is actually one of my favorite units. Actually, it's one of my top favorite units because this card is just like sort of like a god on steroids. What he does is basically, the Limit Break 4 ability is you Counterblast 3, Soul Blast 3, and you choose 1 card with Transcendence Dragon, Dragonic Nouvelle Vague in its name, or just not in its name, but rather just a copy of himself, and discard it. And then you just retire all your opponent's rear guards. Yeah, it's a dark hole basically in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Tense. Actually, no, more like Regeki. But anyway, here's his continuous abilities that happen even when you don't have Limit Break. Continuous Vanguard. During your turn, all your opponent's trigger effects are nullified. Vanguard. Yes, this card is that stupid. Vanguard Circle. During the battle that this unit attacks a Vanguard, your opponent cannot call zeros to the Guardian Circle, basically making zero shields really pointless. And also, whenever this card's in a rear guard circle, it loses 1000 power. Big deal. It's a 12k attacker. It's still really good. You just can't call it if you have a grade 3 Vanguard. Next I run 3 Dauntlesses. Dauntless is basically the Kagero break red that allows it to restand after it attacks at the cost of 3 cards from your hand. These two can combo really well together just because it's basically free 23k attacks. And also your opponent can call zeros, so basically at the end of the game, these two can combo with each other really well. You can just, break ride, limit break, retire all your opponent's rear guards, and then attack twice. Next I have 2 Cruel Dragons. These are actually, to me, very not underwhelmed, not underappreciated grade 3s, because what he does is basically, his limit break, his ability is Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, retire 1 grade 2 or less rear guard. Really good. But his other ability is where it's pretty much wow. Whenever you retire a rear guard, you can basically put your Vanguard at rest, reveal this card to your opponent, and then ride it. It loses 3000 power, but it still rides the stand, which means it's still an 8k grade 3 at turn 2, which is very good actually for early game. And also it also combos really well with this card actually, because this is basically a mini break ride where restraint, it can attack. When this unit is attacked, if there are no boosting units, this card gains plus 5000 power. And also, whenever a Kagero unit rides on top of it, it gains 5k 1 crit. So it's kind of like that very early pressure, very good early pressure, which I love. Very good early pressure. Next I run Dang, I'm very unorganized. I'm sorry about that, folks. Next, I run 4 Nouvelle Critic Dragon. I'm sorry, I butchered that name horribly. His ability is basically counterblast 1. You reveal Nouvelle from your hand and retire 1 rear guard, which is really good actually. Even for Vanguard or rear guard circle, it basically, like I said, combos really well with this. You'll have more units to retire actually. And then finally, I played 3 Bellicosity Dragons because Bellicosity Dragons are OP. Anything that involves Kagero and Unflipper is OP basically because it doesn't have a requirement. And then I play 4 PGs. I plan on playing 4 of her because I love her artwork more. Yeah, I'm a fan for art. Next, I run 3 Dragon Knight Ashgar. Ashgar is basically the personal booster for Nouvelle, basically making the Vanguard 23k attacker or Rearguard 22k attacker, which is still relatively good, and there's no cost to him. Plus, he's a 7k attacker on his own. He's a really good, actually, to me, one of my favorite boosters. I plan on running 1 more of him as soon as I get 1 more of him, but I think 3 right now is just fine. Next, I run 3 Novellin's Dragon. What he does is basically you reveal Nouvelle from your hand, put it back into your deck, and then you search a grade 3. It's basically to make sure you don't get grade locked at grade 4 or grade 3 when you have a grade 4 in your hand. Next, I run 2 bars. I plan on replacing these 2 for these 2, but for now, 2 bars is, I think, just fine. Then I run 2 Kimnara. Kimnara is actually really good in this deck because it gets rid of annoying grade 1 boosters and rear guards and also prepares plays for Cruel Dragon. There's a lot of plays you can do with this deck because you can easily play 4 Cruel Dragons and 4 Novelles just fine. Heck, you can even play this promo actually because he can actually search for your grade 3 or grade 4 at the cost of retiring 1 of your units, but it's still one of those off chance abilities that you can do it, which I don't mind. Next for the trigger cost, 4 heals, for the triggers, 6 crits, and 6 draws. I run this guy. Gatling Claw Dragons, basically that whole counterblast 1 and retire 4 runners. Get it early, and you can easily superior ride. But yeah, that's my deck profile. Overall, this deck's really fun to play, really easy to just open up really well. Problem is that Novelles are still going to cost you a lot of money, and a lot of people are sort of hoarding on those. PGs are still $10. These are about $10. Dauntlesses are $40 still. These are about $12. So yeah, it's gonna be a really hard deck to build. I mean, it cost me a little bit to build this deck, but overall I'm satisfied with how it turned out. Anyway, sorry for this video for being too long. I just wanted to describe this whole deck from beginning to end. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. Oh, and if I do update this deck, I'll be sure to let you guys know. See you guys later.